Hello, guys. Today we're going to talk about a very controversial subject, and it's called female predators. And I'm talking about female predators that's in our neighborhoods, like the Black community. Now, other communities have their own problems, so I'm not talking about their community right now. I'm talking about our community. Now, let's get it started. Last night, my wife and we were talking about one of my friends of mine. He recently passed away. And I was telling her stories that happened to him when he was a young man, because he's looked at as a very attractive young person. And I was telling her how one of his aunt looked at him and she targeted him from day one. His aunt was married to his uncle, so what happened was when he introduced her to him at 14 or 15, she was like a deer in the headlights. Her eyes lit up. It was like everybody knew it. I did. Me and him, we both knew it. Okay, she is falling over this teenage boys. But as teenagers, we never looked at it as something wrong because we wasn't trained to look at it as bad. So she began showering him with gifts, grooming him, and she was always there. She became his next best friend, And most people didn't see it, but we did, because kids is a good judge of character a lot of times. Then later, over the years, she told me something did happen. And of course, I believe him. Boys, we brag about what we do. And the sad part about it messed up the relationship of his aunt and his uncle. His uncle was a very amazing guy. He's like the dad additive. He took us swimming, camping, anything we needed to do. His uncle would take us on those adventures. But that predator behavior of his wife messed up the relationship between him and his uncle. So it was very sad in the end. And I had another friend, he was groomed and targeted by a neighbor. He's 14 years old, and he got groomed, targeted, and something did happen. One night when, cause we used to hang out over our house. We had teenage boys hanging over a single woman house. Everybody should know there was something wrong. But again, our community looked over it. It wasn't viewed as bad because people seen it as teenage boys are lucky to have an older female grooming them or interested in them. So it wasn't viewed as bad. Sadly, both of those friends wound up getting on drugs and had a very turbulent life. I don't know the abuse caused it. Nobody knows. They never said it did. As I would talk to my wife, I was getting more and more deep into the subject, and I was like, God, this is what's going on. And then she asked me about my experiences. I said, well, I was targeted and groomed a lot, but I had sisters, cousins, and a mother. I was raised around bad girls, right? So my sister has 7 sisters. So my mother had 7 sisters, and which was my aunts. So they protected me. I had a first cousin, and I had a sister, and they was tough chicks. They was hyenas. So they always protected me for those issues like that. For example, one time I was hustling, right? Hustling means I try to get money. I take out trash, wash cars, go on errands, do anything for money back in the days, because 25 cents was a lot. The movies costed 75 cents. So if I take out 3 trashes for 25 cents each, or a Coke bottle, I have 75 cents to go to the movies. If I could get like $3, I got movies and popcorn all night long. So hustling was part of the game back then when I was growing up in Generation X. But one time this lady gave me $10 for I took out the trash, gave me $10, right? My sister saw me with the money and she chastised me. She wanted where I get the money from. I told her that the young single neighbor gave me $10 for taking out the trash. So my sister went over our house and gave her the business. She told her, don't be messing with my little brother. And she told my crazy cousin, she's another female hyena. She said, hey, leave my little cousin alone. So my sisters and my cousins and women in my family protected me from it. They knew how serious it was, even though I didn't. I was 15, 16, not even 16, 15, 14 years old. You just think some older women like you, you didn't really get it. And so the biggest problem with this issue is the boys were never looked at as victims. In fact, it was kind of encouraged. We looked at it as playboys, players. We're going to be taking women money later. We're going to be pimps. We're cool. We got it like that. We got game. But in reality was those female predators taking advantage of us. 13, 14, 15 years old, we just too young to even know the consequences of it. Luckily, my older sister knew it, so she was trying to protect my seed, So I was lucky in that particular situations because my sister knew the importance it was to keep those predators off of me. There's a clip where the lead attorney is talking about there's a shortage of black male sperm in the sperm banks. Why I bring this up? I bring this up, this whole video is about that issue, because if we have female predators in our neighborhoods, in our communities, what's going to happen to the young man with their sperm? All predators are not ugly. Some of them super hot. So we need to tell our young black men to protect their sperm. We need to start protecting them from the predators, because it's a very serious deal. Think about it. What my sister protected me from was unwanted pregnancy, which is a financial liability to me, 18 years of child support, because I was groomed by a female predator. Financially, mental state. What if I got my heart broken by some old nasty predator? My mental state can be wrecked, because I could be getting my first heartbreak at 13 and 14 years old when I should have been just a kid. So there's a lot of major consequences by female predators can do to young black men in our neighborhood. I work in mental health. If 90% of the teenage boys there, the young men there, they're there for broken hearts. I would say about 80% of them. The other one is mental illness, disorders, stuff like that. But a lot of the young men that come to our centers, mental health centers, they're there for a broken heart. They got their heart broken, they're torn apart, got destroyed. Then they want to delete themselves. So that's why we got to keep those female predators off our young men. We got to treat them like they're important, just as good as we treat our daughters. I got daughters and sons, so I'm not making this stuff up. And I guarantee, as in an old school guy that really want to admit to themselves that they haven't been approached by a female predator, So, for example, in Caucasian communities, they know it's predatory behavior. So they'll call the police. They might be on the news when those teachers try to sleep with their sons. They report it because they know it's abuse. But somehow in our community, we looked at as the boys were lucky. And you wonder why Pook and Ray Ray is Pook and Ray Ray. Because they would talk to, hey, you got game, you'll be a player or pimp, live off the woman. So that's why they get their behavior from. Then we want to look down on them for taking advantage of women. We have to teach our young men to protect their seed, especially when there's a black male sperm shortage. Because our predators, like I said, is not ugly. Some are very beautiful, some are very successful, and all they need is babies. If they're freezing their eggs now, it's easy to just find a young man to sleep with, unprotected. Then dump him later, which is called child support, which you have to pay. If you don't, you might not be a criminal, but he's gonna have to go to jail. To summarize it, why it's important to keep female predators out of our neighborhood, to start putting them in jail, start calling it what it is. Women with sons, you need to protect them from those predators. Why? Because number one, damage and heartbroken. Heartbroken can damage them, lead them all skewed view of women. It could be a life-changing event. In most cases, it is a life-changing event. Financial liability. It's hard to get on your feet when you already started out as a father to some baby mama, and you have to pay funds to that financially to that kid that you might not be able to see or seeing part-time. So financial liability is very important if a young man wants to get themselves together, as you call it, pull yourself up, leveling it up. Start to do that when you already at a financial disadvantage. Study says that Black and brown teenagers, men, are most likely to be put on child support because they are most likely to have babies out of wedlock and have babies at a young age because of the social economic background they come from. There's a psychologist called Carl Jung, and he had this graph that said, with no power, we're powerless when you have all love. We have all love and no money. It's all love. You're powerless. You have no power. But if you have all the power, meaning all the power, then you have less love. Love gonna be lacking. So you're super powerful. Love is not gonna be there. You're gonna be the PhD girl, PhD mom. I got a PhD. You don't need love because you got a PhD. But when you have nothing for funds, love is dominated in the areas. It's more romantic when you have nothing to give. When you buy a $5 birthday card with your last $5, pretty romantic, right? So we need to stop this predatory behavior in our neighborhood, start identifying it, start calling it out. We need to teach our young men to protect their seed because it's a financial liability. And also it's a mental state liability too. Okay, if you want to challenge me on this, ask some of the old school guys who's willing to talk about it now. They're old enough to realize, hey, I wasn't a player. I was just taken advantage of by an old woman, old hag. Somebody took advantage of me. I know I was lucky because I had sisters and I had tough cousins. I did make out with a couple, but I was smart enough to know where babies come from. So I was a little smarter than my friends. Even though my friends didn't have babies by those predators, they just got lucky. Okay, let's end it like this. Young man, please protect your seed. Protect your seed. Remember, all predators are not ugly. Some of them is hot. Remember, your seed can be a great financial liability. Okay, that's about it. It's no more back. Sorry to talk about something very sensitive, female predators. I'm pretty sure it happened in other communities, but we have to stop telling young men that you're so cool to sleep with an old hag, or so you're a player because you slept with a hyena, or you're a pimp because you're taking some hyena money. Your money's nothing compared to your seed. Deuces.